Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Cycle 5858. I am Amish Cycle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming. Stay with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight there is breaking news as we come on the air in the West. The deadly ice shooting of that mother of three in Minneapolis, and now news coming in. 2 people have been shot by federal agents in Portland, Oregon. First tonight, the deadly ice shooting of that mother of 3, igniting protests and outrage. Chilling video showing the moment an ICE agent opens fire. Tonight we take you frame by frame. What happened? 37-year-old Renee Good was shot in the head, killed behind the wheel. And tonight the White House doubling down, defending ICE. The vice president saying of the driver, this was a tragedy of her own making. The Trump administration calling it self-defense. ICE agents using pepper spray and tear gas. And tonight the governor there putting the National Guard on alert now. And in Portland, Oregon at this hour, local and federal sources now telling ABC News federal agents have shot 2 people, and what we know so far, Wick Johnson in Minneapolis. We're tracking dangerous, severe storms sweeping across the country, multiple tornadoes touching down. Families tonight describing homes violently shaking. The system moving across the south and into the east next. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast. The breaking news tonight, the unprecedented move by NASA to bring astronauts home early. There has been a medical scare involving an astronaut on board the International Space Station, and what we know so far. Tonight, President Trump telling the New York Times how long he believes the U.S. will be running Venezuela. And when asked if there were any limits to his global powers, he said he's restrained, quote, only by his own morality. Tonight, the expanding plans for changes to the White House, from the East Wing sheared off and the new ballroom coming. Now the plans for the West Wing.
Mr. President, what are you doing up there?
What the architect is now signaling. Will the president pardon Sean Diddy Combs what he's now saying? The America Strong surprise tonight. You met that grandfather, his treasured honeymoon video. The grandchildren one by one showing up at the door. Well, that new surprise right here tonight. And we remember a legendary songwriter tonight. You'll know his music from Johnny Cash to Willie Nelson.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. As we come on the air in the West tonight, we do begin here with breaking news. Federal sources telling ABC News that federal agents have shot 2 people in Portland, Oregon a short time ago. The agents who shot, we are told, are with U.S. Customs and Border Protection. What we know so far on this, also in Minneapolis, growing protests and outrage tonight after the deadly ice shooting of a mother of 3 there. 2 very different takes on what happened there, and the images, of course, are disturbing. The video shows 37-year-old Renee Good behind the wheel of her SUV, partially blocking that intersection. An agent trying to open her door. You see the vehicle reverse and then drive forward. A 3rd agent firing those 3 shots, killing the driver, shooting her in the head. After the shooting, the SUV accelerating and crashing into parked cars along the street. Witnesses horrified by what they saw. Tonight here, frame by frame, what happened, what we know about the agent who opened fire, where he was standing at the time. The White House doubling down, defending him and the ICE operation. Tonight, the vice president, in a rare appearance in the White House briefing room, saying of the driver, this was a, quote, tragedy of her own making. And tonight,
tempers and tensions flaring in Minneapolis this Thursday night. What we're learning about the woman who was shot dead by an ICE agent and how the White House is doubling down on defending the officer.
The tragedy of the far left who has marshaled an entire movement.
Our Jackson Prosco is in Minneapolis, sounding the alarm about the crisis on some First Nations.
There's nowhere else to stay.
Why another community is about to be evacuated. The struggle to shed pounds, what's likely to happen after people stop taking weight loss drugs. Plus, what the flock? The rampage inside this store.
International with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news. Police in Portland, Oregon say two people, a male and female, have been injured in a shooting involving federal immigration agents. The two were taken to hospital. Their condition is not known and no video has yet emerged. The Department of Homeland Security says it happened during a targeted vehicle stop and that both are believed to be involved in a Venezuelan gang. It claims the driver attempted to run over the officers. Portland's mayor has called on ICE to end all operations in Portland until a full investigation can be completed. This after the shooting in Minneapolis of an American citizen by a federal immigration agent yesterday. It's added fuel to what was already an inflamed debate over the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration. Mourners are laying flowers near where it happened. There is grief and outrage that 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good was killed in her vehicle on a residential street, and viewers may find the bystander video disturbing.
No! No!
It has been watched and dissected by people all over the world now, including the U.S. president and others in his administration who were quick to blame the dead woman, claiming the officer acted in self-defense. What has emerged since are two completely different narratives.
I can believe that her death is a tragedy, while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making and a tragedy of the far left who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe, against our law enforcement officers.
It feels very, very difficult that we will get a fair outcome. And I say that only because people in positions of power have already passed judgment, have stood and told you things that are verifiably false, verifiably inaccurate.
There is an investigation underway. The FBI is in charge, and local officials say they have been blocked from participating. Jackson Prosco is at the memorial in Minneapolis. Jackson.
Donna, the governor of Minnesota has activated the National Guard to support local law enforcement at this time of heightened tensions. School children in Minneapolis have been told to stay home from class until the end of the week as a precaution. No one seemed to know what's going to happen next, especially given the continued defiance from the Trump administration. From scuffles outside of...
Quite a bit of decorating since I've been here last.
Well, I have.
Great to see you, sir.
I didn't know it was a full hour. I thought it was going to be maybe 10 or 15 minutes. But you do that to me every once in a while.
I think I was pretty clear, but thank you for your time. We always appreciate it. There's really not much in the news, so there's not a real lot to talk about, but let's start with Venezuela. Narco-terrorist, indicted, guy that we're losing 200 Americans a day to drugs.
Yeah.
Walk us through this decision in Venezuela.
Well, it wasn't a hard decision. Democrats wanted him and Republicans wanted him, and nobody had what it takes to get him. Didn't want to get him. I don't know, something happened, but he killed a lot of people. He sent a lot of bad people into our country. He emptied his prisons into the United States. He emptied his mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States, and did a lot of very bad things, but he was a big drug pusher. You see that because all the boats that we shot down, they came out of Venezuela. A lot of drugs. There's a lot of boats and a lot of drugs. There are very few boats operating right now. There's almost no boats. You can't find any boats.
I don't think anyone would go fishing in those
Not
waters.
a lot of people want to go fishing anymore. But we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by water. And we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country. But the cartels are running, and they're killing 250,000, 300,000 people in our country every single year. The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You know, you lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying too with drugs. So we've done a really good job. We're knocking it down. The numbers are really getting to be, they're always going to be too high if you have one person, but they're going down just like the border. The border was a total mess for years. I did it the first time very quickly, and this time I did it even better because this was a bigger mess. This was a border like no other probably in the history of the world. There's never been a border like that when anybody could just walk into your country.
The border's ostensibly really closed now.
Closed. You can't come in. Nobody comes. Nobody even tries. And the people in Texas, Arizona, all these places that are won by such big numbers, they are so happy with the border. They had homes that they weren't even able to live in their home. Every day, people were knocking on their door every hour. And it's just a great honor to be involved with it. The ICE and Border Patrol and all of the people have been so good. Tom Holman, Christy Nome. The people have done such an incredible job. You have no idea.
You've made a number of profound announcements and then a new announcement today. Announcement number one was 30 to 50 million barrels of oil that they will be handing over to you, and you will sell it on the market at market prices.
Yep.
That money will be used for the people of Venezuela and the people of America.
Correct.
Then you made an announcement yesterday that they will buy all of their goods from this country. Today, we learned that the holdovers, since Maduro's gone, have agreed to free all of the political prisoners.
Right.
It indicates they want peace with Donald Trump to me.
This is Sky News, the headlines. 2 people have been shot and injured by federal agents in the US city of Portland.
No! No!
US Vice President J.D. Vance defends an immigration officer who shot at a protester in Minneapolis and attacks the media.
Everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.
Storm Gretty smashes into the UK with winds of 99 miles per hour, bringing down power lines.
Tens of thousands of people have called out power this evening as the red alert, threat to life alert, continues here in the southwest.
Past pub landlords say cheers to a government U-turn on business rates. Hello and welcome. We begin with breaking news from the United States. Police have said that federal agents shot 2 people in Portland in the state of Oregon yesterday afternoon. And in the last hour, the US Homeland Security has said the incident occurred after border agents conducted a targeted vehicle stop. They said the passenger was a Venezuelan illegal immigrant who is also affiliated with a gang. According to Homeland Security, when the border agents identified themselves, the driver weaponized the vehicle and tried to run over the agents. Staying in the US now, US Vice President J.D. Vance has defended an immigration officer who shot dead a woman in Minneapolis. He said that she tried to ram him with her car and he opened fire in self-defense, but it's a version of events strongly contested by outraged community leaders. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner reports from Minneapolis.
Your soul needs to grapple with the fact that you murdered a mother yesterday. Her son is 6 years old. His name is Emerson. Her name was Renee.
The name of Renee Nicole Good, shot dead by an ICE immigration agent, is echoing across Minneapolis. Reflection and resistance. A focus for the fury at Donald Trump's wider migrant crackdown. Anthony watched the horror unfold from his balcony.
It's so close where the car eventually ended up crashing.
Yeah. He wants to remain anonymous because he has a government job, but shows me video he filmed of the moment it happened.
Right there.
So this is her car?
Yeah. So that's when she kind of tries to get out the way, and then she crashes.
You knew that she'd been shot at this point?
Mm-hmm.
You can hear in your video someone shouting she's been shot in the face.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I heard too.
The timestamp on this video shows it's 9 minutes before first responders remove her from the car. They attempt resuscitation on the roadside. It's another 10 minutes before an ambulance arrives. A few doors away, Aidan was also watching.
You've got a very clear view of
Yeah,
this.
I was right in front.
You're pretty convinced that she was trying to drive away from the police officer?
She turned away from them. She was trying to flee, no doubt in my mind. It is more okay for a civilian to panic and try to escape than it is for a...
Three people unaccounted for and multiple homes lost, with the worst conditions still to come this afternoon in the Victorian bushfires.
Today represents one of the most dangerous fire days that this state has experienced in years.
So those fires are a result of that severe heatwave conditions persisting across the southeast of the country. Heavy rain set to lash the North Queensland coast. A tropical low intensifies in the Coral Sea. Tensions rise in the US. Clashes in the city of Minneapolis over the fatal shooting of a woman by an immigration officer, and border agents shoot 2 people in Portland. And France expresses fears the NATO alliance is in danger over the United States' push to take Greenland. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Joe O'Brien. 3 people, including a child, are unaccounted for in central Victoria after they were told to take shelter from an out-of-control bushfire. Multiple homes have been lost in that blaze south of Euroa, and authorities are deeply concerned about just how much worse things are likely to get in the coming hours. Temperatures are already in the 40s, and the winds are picking up to 60 k's an hour right now, with the potential to get much stronger. That Longwood blaze is one of the 2 major fires burning in the state, threatening dozens of communities, and there are more than 10 other fires that have started too. It's thought lightning probably started many of those, and there are more storms likely through today. The fire's already burned through the town of Ruffy, where a firefighter has been taken to hospital with significant hand injuries, and several homes were destroyed there.
That's a small community, but I think basically all of the houses in that location have been burnt to the ground. We are seeing pictures and explanations of buildings and schools and all sorts of devastation in the small towns around this location. So, look, we expect to discover much more devastation when those roads are reopened and people can access their properties.
Local mayor there. So it's an incredibly dangerous situation through this afternoon. We'll be right across it with you through the day. And so these are the latest warnings. So for that Longwood fire north of Melbourne, about an hour and a half north of Melbourne, now 5 emergency warning. I think that's changed just in the last hour or so. 5 warnings in relation to that fire. It's been burning to the southeast. So residents in the immediate vicinity are being urged to take shelter as it's now too late to leave. Ruffy, which is the little town worst affected, is in that about where that red triangle is the emergency warning in that top quadrant there. So people in towns south and east of that fire should leave immediately while it's safe to do so. In Victoria's northeast, a bushfire west of Walwa is still out of control. We'll go up to that blaze now over in the north.
This is Asia First.
Good Friday morning, I'm Julie Yu. It's 9 a.m. here in Singapore. The headlines this hour. The Australian state of Victoria is bracing for what authorities describe as catastrophic fire danger with record-breaking temperatures this week. Some 450 schools are closed, many regional train services shut, and a total fire ban is in place in several districts.
Hello, I'm Yasmin Yonkers. Protests erupt in the U.S. city of Minneapolis over the fatal shooting of a woman by an immigration agent. The FBI takes over the investigation, citing no jurisdiction for local authorities. Vice President J.D. Vance defends the Trump administration's crackdown while accusing, quote, left-wing radicals and the corporate media of inflaming tensions. And Mr. Vance is also doubling down on America's threat to annex Arctic territory, Greenland.
What we're asking our European friends to do is to take the security of that landmass more seriously, because if they're not, the United States is going to have to do something about it. What that is, I'll leave that to the president.
And I'm Elizabeth New. Markets are bracing for a U.S. Supreme Court ruling on the legality of President Trump's tariffs. Whatever the decision, his administration has alternative ways to replace or reimpose levies that are repealed, fully or partially. But more than 1,000 corporate entities have lined up lawsuits attempting to claw back the money they've paid. And coming up, Rio Tinto and Glencore confirmed they are in talks on a potential merger that will create the world's biggest mining company. The deal could be worth more than $260 billion. But first, residents in some parts of Australia's Victoria state are being urged to evacuate as the state faces the most pronounced fire risk today.
And officials say the combination of heat, wind, and dryness this week has created the worst conditions since the devastating Black Summer bushfires of 2019 and 2020. That's when thousands of hectares of land burned and dozens of people lost their lives. The Victorian capital, Melbourne, is forecast to see temperatures as high as 43 degrees Celsius. Parts of New South Wales and South Australia also expected to face blistering conditions, with Adelaide, Canberra and Sydney set to see the mercury hit the mid-30s.
Extreme fire danger warnings have been in place across most of Victoria since Tuesday, as some 450 schools and child care centres have been shut. The experts say the fire risk is driven by below-average rainfall over the past year, which has left landscapes perched and vegetation highly flammable. Brianna Piazza filed this report for CNA from Melbourne.
The extreme heat that we've seen over recent days really has created the perfect storm for what authorities are describing as catastrophic fire conditions.
Africa News. The news.
Voicing their anger over the US's capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, crowds gathered outside the US embassy in the South African capital. The demonstrations were led by members of the South African Communist Party, which has condemned US President Donald Trump's actions.
As many people may be aware, the Venezuelan president and his spouse were abducted by the US a few days ago, and today we are here to call first for the release of President Maduro, and then secondly to allow all institutions that exist and the mechanisms that exist to the US, although they are aware of this, that all countries are sovereign and they need to be allowed to do what they want to do.
According to Venezuela's Interior Minister, 100 people died in the US's attack on Venezuela, during which Maduro was captured.
We have appreciated South Africa's stance. We think it was brave, important, independent, and I think that's what we expect from South Africa, no less than that. But of course, it comes at a risk. It's a country that can always isolate itself to stand for the truth and to speak on principles which we appreciate. That's what we are. We are a country, our democracy was achieved as a consequence of international solidarity. So expression of international solidarity is a component of our own struggle as well.
Protesters were also criticising Trump's plans to get his hands on oil in Venezuela, which has the largest crude oil reserves on the planet. Just over a month after the attempted coup that shook Cotonou, Beninese voters will be heading to the polls on Sunday to elect a new parliament as well as their municipal councillors. The parties in the running are bringing 2 weeks of campaigning to an end on Friday. For parliamentary elections, 5 parties are competing for seats in the country's National Assembly. Among them are 3 parties that are part of the presidential movement, as well as the Democrats, who are the main opposition. Only 3 parties are vying for ballots in local elections. 2 are from the presidential movement and 1 from the opposition. The votes come ahead of a third vote due to take place this year, the presidential election, which is set for the 12th of April.
Zambia has withdrawn its request for a one-year extension of its extended credit facility with the International Monetary Fund. The IMF said on Wednesday no reason was given for the decision. The EDF was agreed in 2022 to help Zambia stabilize its finances after defaulting on its international debt 2 years earlier. A one-year extension would have released an additional $145 million and kept IMF monitoring in place. Zambia is facing double-digit inflation ahead of August general election. The government is projecting an improved financial forecast for 2026, predicting that the budget deficit will fall by more than half and that growth will exceed 6%.
Egypt and the European Union said on Thursday that efforts of the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel in Gaza. Phase 2 calls for the establishment of a board of peace to oversee the peace process. Egypt and the EU said the body should begin its work without further delay.
In Gaza, the situation is extremely severe still. Hamas refuses to disarm. It blocks progress to the next stage of the peace plan. At the same time, Israel also is restricting the international NGOs that are putting humanitarian aid access at serious risk. Without the NGOs, aid cannot reach the necessary at the necessary scale in Gaza. There is no justification for the humanitarian situation in Gaza to have deteriorated to the current level.
We are waiting for the American side to start, as the plan is related to President Trump. Therefore, the American side will soon announce all the specifics, especially related to the Gaza peace.
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.